Firstly, we have fixed joint. Fixed joints are the joints that provide specific parts of the body their stability, such as the joints of the skull and the pelvic bones. A fixed or fibrous joint is completely immobile, meaning it allows absolutely no movement at all. In addition, there's no joint cavity. Instead, there are strong fibrous tissue holds, and bones together. There are three types of fixed joints. These are called sutures, syndesmoses, and gomphoses. Next, we move on to synovial joint. A synovial joint. Firstly, when the articulating bones make contact, that causes the synovial joint to move. These bones can rotate around or slide past one another. Abduction / away, adduction toward, extension open, flexion / close, and rotation are the motions that result from this. The synovial joint with the most movement is the ball and socket. The synovial joint with the most movement is the ball and socket joint. This is because these type of joints are multi-axial and are most freely type of synovial joint, free moving type of synovial joint. Slightly movable joints. Amphiorthosis are also known as slightly movable joints. Slightly movable joints permit / allow some movement but provide a little less stability than immovable joints. Bones that are at the cartilaginous joints connected by cartilage and are an example of slightly movable joints. Now we go on to talk about the types of synovial joints. First, you have the hinge joint. Hinge joint, an example of a synovial joint found in the body, is a hinge joint, which permits movement in one direction. The bones in the hinge joint are covered with a protected cartilage and a thick fluid known as synovial fluid. The hinge is made up of two or more bones. In addition, the hinge joints allow flexing, straightening, and bending of the joints, for example, flexing a finger or toe. Pivot joint. In the anatomy of vertebrates, the pivot joint. This is also known as the rotary joint or the trochoid joint. It's a freely moving joint that only permits rotation around a single axis. Furthermore, pivot joints are present in the arm and neck. Finally, these two types of pivots, the forward pivot and the reverse pivot. The saddle joint, a biaxial mobile joint with the ability to move in two planes, flexion or extension, and abduction or adduction. This is also known as the saddle joint. This joint is primarily created by the articulating surfaces of the bones, which have both concave and convex sections. Saddle joints are only found in two joints, one in the foot bone and one in the thumb. Sliding and gliding plane joint. A plane joint, also known as gliding joint, or an arthrodial joint, is a structure created between two bones where the articular or free surfaces of the bones are flat or nearly flat, allowing the bones to slide over to one another. Ball and socket joint, a movable joint in which one bone is hooked into the hollow space of another bone, is also known as the ball and socket joint. Movement in all directions is possible. An example of a ball and socket joint is a shoulder and a hip joint. Finally, the condyloid joint. The wrist joint is also referred to as the radiocarpal joint, is also a condyloid synovial joint of the distal upper limb that connects and serves as a transition point between the forearm and hand. A condyloid joint is a modified ball and socket joint that allows for flexion, extension, abduction, and adduction movements. The structure of the synovial joint. Firstly, the synovial joint is made up of two bony surfaces that are encased in fibrous capsules with a synovial lining make up a synovial joint. A synovial fluid in the joint enables the bone surfaces to articulate with one another. The extracellular matrix is made up of prostaglandins and water. Finally, moving on, the structure of the muscular system. Specialized cells called muscle fibers make up the muscular system. Their main job is to be contractible. Muscles which are affixed to bones, internal organs, and blood vessels regulate movement. Nearly all movement in the body is caused by muscle contraction. Each of the body's more than 60 muscles that have a specific function. Some must assist you run, jump, and carry out activities like throwing a dart accurately. In addition, you can breathe or digest food with the help of other muscles. The heart beats hundreds of times per day, making it a powerful muscle. Musculoskeletal responses to exercise. A chronic adaptation will be defined as any change occurring after 30 days of onset or regular training. Your body makes modifications during an acute response to exercise to adapt to the increased energy demands that arise when we move from rest to exercise. As our muscles produce more power, our biological systems must work harder to get the necessary oxygen from the energy to find them. Finally, short-term effects will occur as you exercise, as well as a few seconds after, and long-term effects, chronic effects, will occur days after or months after. Talking more in detail about the acute adaptations. Firstly, the acute adaptations are the short-term effects that occur following aerobic exercise. Furthermore, by boosting cardiac output, increased heart rate and stroke volume, and controlling microvascular circulation, this is achieved. Additionally, proper blood flow is supported by the actions of the local vasodilators, such as nitric oxide produced by endothelial cells. Chronic adaptations. Firstly, chronic adaptations are the long-term effects that occur after partaking in aerobic exercises. Long-term aerobic exercises causes the body to adapt and improve its ability to satisfy metabolic demands, higher maximal cardiac output, increased stroke volume, and decreased heart rates during rest and during submaximal exercise are only a few of the changes made to the cardiovascular system. On the other hand, chronic hypertrophy refers to the increase in the muscle size associated with long-term resistance training. Finally, the conclusion of the skeletal and muscular system. The main structural component of your body is the skeletal system. It is made up of bones, connective tissues such as ligaments, tendons, and cartilage. Another name for it is the musculoskeletal system. Muscle fibers are specialized cells that make up the muscular system. Its ability to contract in their main characteristics movement is caused by muscles that are connected to blood vessels, internal organs, or bones. Muscle contractions is the primary cause of almost all bodily movements. And that's it.